On the news tonight, 37 federal universities and others slated to be connected with solar mini-grid. Plus, NSCDC parades suspects for various crimes including an alleged ritualist and kidnapper. A very good evening for you, and thank you for joining us on the 7 p.m. news on NTA Channel 5 Abuja, the Unity Station. I am Abdullah Hajia. First, we begin from the religious realm, where the Imam of Area 10 Jumat Mosque, Ustaz Yahya Garba Al-Yodawi, has urged Muslims to reflect on their values and actions and strive to embody the noble teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He was speaking during the Jumat sermon today. Hawagimba reports.
The sermon resonates deeply with the congregation, who were reminded of the importance of emulating the Prophet's virtues in their daily lives, which includes its shining examples for Muslim faith, honesty, patience, and trustworthiness.
The peacemaker and is generous, and he is trustworthy. That is his name, As-Sadiq Al-Amin. This word or this quality given by him by his enemies, even before his companions. So when you are talking, look at the Quran. Anything that the Quran says, the Prophet is doing.
While encouraging Muslim faithful to continue to draw inspiration from Prophet Muhammad's life as a beacon of guidance for humanity, worshippers were enjoined to pray for the leadership of the country and citizens, for an improved economy, and for a progressive nation. Hawagimba, NTA News.
Away from that and now to politics. As electorates in Edo State prepare to elect a new governor this Saturday, President Bola Tinubu has called on stakeholders in the upcoming Edo governorship elections to conduct themselves peacefully and strongly. In a statement by the presidential advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Nanuga, the president implores the governorship candidates, political parties, and supporters to respect the democratic process and people's will. President Tinubu expressed his belief in the voters' ability to make informed decisions about their future leaders, while emphasizing that democracy thrives on civility, tolerance, patience, and respect for the rules of the game. He notes that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has committed to conducting a free and fair election and urges all stakeholders to work together to ensure a successful and peaceful process. The president commends the governorship candidates and political parties for their campaigns. Now, talking energy, 37 federal universities and 7 teaching hospitals are slated to be connected with solar mini-grid to address challenges of power supply. Joshua Jito reports that 16 universities and 2 teaching hospitals are already benefiting, with phase 3 of the project set to commence. The report.
The solar connection for federal universities and teaching hospitals is being implemented under the Energizing Education Program, funded by the federal government in partnership with donor agencies through the Nigeria Electrification Project. Following the success story of Phase 1 and 2 of the project, plans are underway to commence Phase 3. In view of this, the Rural Electrification Agency engaged universities that have already benefited from the solar mini-grids and agreed that, in the interest of sustainability of the project, universities should take ownership.
By investing in energy infrastructure and ensuring that all educational institutions have access to reliable and affordable electricity, we can create a brighter future for our nation.
In each university, we provide the hybrid mini grid. We improve the distribution infrastructure to ensure connectivity between the mini grid and the main grid. We also upgrade a number of substations. We have also done 100% metering in all these universities, and at the same time also deployed a SCADA system.
These assets in those universities do not only represent power for those universities, it also represents a step towards more energy efficient institutions.
This very project has come at the right time. I cannot emphasize how important it is.
The coming of this project for me is already a relief to us.
The Energizing Education program also covers establishment of training centers for students. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Meanwhile, federal government is deploying solar mini-grids to underserved security formations across the country to ensure uninterrupted power supply to critical national security assets. Joshua Ojito again reports that Rural Electrification Agency targets solar connection of Nigerian Immigration Service commands and control centers in the next phase of its intervention.
Reliable power supply, the Nigeria Immigration Service believes, is critical to its operations on digitization, border security and data protection, and the Controller General of the service seeks support of Rural Electrification Agency to connect its control centers with solar mini-grids for efficient service delivery.
Safety of that data, protection of that data, our energy source is critical. It's very, very important.
So far, the Nigerian military, the police and customs service benefited from solar mini-grid solutions, and the managing director of Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Aliyu, says Nigeria Immigration Service will not be left out.
Deployed about 156 mini-grid, working in 15 universities and 30 teaching hospitals. We also provided 100 intervention in 100 federal, secondary and primary health institutions across the country, where we provided 50 kilowatt containerized mini-grid in such health institutions.
Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Moving on to security, an alleged ritualist and kidnapper apprehended with a female victim in a hotel room in the FCT, along with other suspects of fraud and various crimes, including vandalism of public infrastructure, have been paraded at the headquarters of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, with Season 5 Abuja. Serafina Rokon Omekwe has details.
He said I should answer if I'm afraid of death or not. I said I can't answer that. Though I've seen death has happened to me, but I can't answer you if I'm afraid of death or not. Then he lifted up the bed and took sellotape under the bed. When he took the sellotape, he used it to tie my hands again. Then brought out white handkerchief from his pocket.
The young lady of whom we are concealing her identity is a victim of a ritualist and serial fraudster whom she met on a popular dating site and agreed for a hookup in a hotel at Wuse, Abuja. The victim was stripped bound, hands, feet and mouth.
If I wanted to kill her, she would have been dead before they brought me back to the hotel. So my intention was not to kill her. I'm not a killer, I've never killed before. I just wanted to take her phone. When the girls come, I psych them and talk fear into them so they'll be afraid.
Joseph Efe was apprehended by men of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps at a hotel in Wuse when he came outside the premises allegedly to meet with an accomplice, leaving his victim tied up in the hotel room. His suspicious movements prompted men of the NSCDC FCT command into action. After interrogations, the suspect confessed to being a cybercriminal who hunts for young girls on a dating site called Coded Runs. He operates in cities of Port Harcourt, Lagos, Benin and Abuja, with the intent to dispose victims who are mainly young unsuspecting ladies of their valuables.
He was apprehended by my men who were on sentry duty after they noticed a suspicious movement, trying to make his way out of the hotel premises. and they tried to stop him and ask him questions, but immediately he saw them, he took to his heels. But trust my officers, they gave him a hot pursuit, a hot chase, and he was caught, he was arrested.
The NSCDC Commandant Olushola Odumosu says the case will be transferred to the FCT Police Command for further investigations and prosecution. Other suspects were paraded for vandalism of armored cables from a transformer in the Kwali Area Council of Abuja. Serafina Okon Omekwe, NTA News.
Residents of Mpape, Maitama, Asokoro, districts of Abuja who recently witnessed earth tremors in their areas have been urged not to panic as the federal government is monitoring and investigating the root cause of the tremors. Acting Director General of the FCT Emergency Management Department, Abdurrahman Mohammed, commenting on measures put in place, says experts have revealed that the tremors pose very low threats. Ramut Abdullahi reports.
Following the recent earth tremors witnessed in some parts of FCT, mostly in Mpape, Maitama and Asokoro districts, Acting Director General of FCT Emergency Management Agency, Abdurrahman Mohammed said relevant agencies of government, such as the Nigeria Geological Survey and others, are investigating the situation. Pending the release of the report on the investigation, Acting Director General of FEMA said the agency has constituted a committee involving Abuja Environmental Protection Board and Solid Minerals Department, as well as consultants, to provide immediate solutions to the affected areas.
For now, the experts are saying that there's no cause for alarm. That's what they are saying. They've not really established the particular area, the line that the earth tremor follow. But they have told us that it's due to the fault line that's coming from Toro to pass through Abuja here, and it's going down like that up to Ekiti, around Ekiti side. So there is a lot of distortion.
Meanwhile, he said mining activities have been suspended in Mpape for now, urging residents to be vigilant.
If you see your house is shaking, the first thing to go is to go out of, because our design does not take into cognizance some of these things that is happening now. So the first thing is to go out of the building. If you are staying very close to electric pole or transformer, move away from there, so that let's be about emergency preparedness is being put forward. We intend to call our stakeholder and also brief them on what we are doing.
Earth tremors, which is a relatively small movement of the Earth's surface, started in Mpape, Asokoro and Maitama districts since last Friday. Ramatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Kamar ta isa. Aini a zahiri 10x ce akan da. Barkata 10x.
Barkata 10 times zai ninka maka kyautar data da za ka yi duk abubuwan da kake so yi a yanar gizo. Ka yi kira na bidiyo, sauraron sauti kai tsaye, kallon allon bidiyo, jin waƙoƙi ko buga wasanni duk a yanar gizo.
Bai tsaya a nan ba. Za su bani naira 1000 kyauta, sannan za su bani kyautar data, su bani kyautar kira. Barka da zuwa.
Ninki 10 na datan da ka samu a wayarka zai baka damar yin duk abubuwan da kake son yi sau 10.
Iye? Duk wannan a barkata 10x?
Maza mu je mu karɓa namu barkata 10x.
Maza ka je ka nemi layinka na Glo domin ka mori duk garaɓasa data na barkata 10 times tare da ninki 10 na duk abin da ka loda a wayarka. Duka datan ka za a ninka maka shi ninki ba ninki. Kyautar data na dare da kuma garaɓasa 1000 na barka da zuwa. Tuna nemo layinka na Glo ko ka matsa star 301 hash domin ka more wannan garaɓasar.
Glo Unlimited.
Let's talk sports now. The much-awaited Abuja cricket revival has begun, with games masters from selected secondary schools participating in the first phase of the training. Sports correspondent Francis Kabele brings us details.
Almin Government Secondary School was Season 3 for the final day of cricket training for games masters from 13 selected secondary schools in Abuja. This is in line with the Abuja Cricket Revival, which is an initiative of the FCT Cricket Association aimed at introducing the game of cricket to students in the FCT.
In this introductory phase, the teachers were intimated with the rudiments of the sports, which they will in turn impact the knowledge on their students.
When you play the ball up and the fielder catches it, are you in or out? Out. Yeah. It's called a dismissal.
For these 3 days training, we've been learning a lot. We learn the fundamentals, the skills, and they let us know that cricket is a team, game.
In the time past, cricket looked like an individual struggle. Coaches will come trying to scout for players. They have approached us at quite a number of times seeking permission to be able to interact with our students. We obliged them the opportunity. But now this is the first approach from the Cricket Association seeking to collaborate with the FCT Secondary Education Board to officially introduce cricket as a game among senior secondary schools.
Even from the first day the game was introduced to us, I was very excited. And so I am privileged that the game is kicking off here. So which means my school is a pioneer school.
The chairman of the FCT Cricket Association, Emeka Oyema, is appealing for support and partnership from the government to promote the game of cricket in the FCT.
The main challenge that we are going through right now is that we need a ground. We need a ground where we play this game. After teaching these schools and getting them to play the game, we want to host competition and want to host it in FCT cricket ground.
What we want to do in FCT is to deepen the level of cricket in FCT through secondary schools in the SS 1 to 3 and JS 1 to 3.
At the end of the training, a total of 18 games masters were presented with the cricket materials to aid their students play the game of cricket in their schools. In Abuja, Francis Kabile, NTA News.
Up next is Sports Brief. Team headquarters have emerged champions of the second edition of the Directorate of Road Traffic Services DRTS football tournament. In the final played at the Old Parry Ground on Thursday, the champions beat Team Zone 6 4-3 on penalties after a 1-1 draw at regulation time. The game, the organizers said, was to encourage social bonding and building healthy minds among staff.
I'm very excited and I commend the management of the DRTS for putting up this wonderful competition. I mean, it was a thing of joy seeing the officers on the football field and not on the road. And apart from that, we need healthy officers to be on our roads. So it was a very beautiful one.
The nature of our work, we are more or less an enforcement agency. So if we continue to enforce and no avenue to unwind, then of course the job will be boring. So I am very happy about the performance of our boys. They really surprised us, and I think we need to now pause for more investment in this side of sport so that we can now represent, if possible, the entire FCT.
Goes to Team Edo, comprising 18 gold, 13 silver and 28 bronze medals. Elsewhere, in the Thursday round 1 UEFA Champions League games, 10-man Barcelona suffered a 2-1 away loss at the Lois 2 Stadium to Monaco. Bayer Leverkusen were impressive away, thrashing Feyenoord 4-0. Europa League champions Atlanta were held to a goalless draw at home by Arsenal. With Sports Brief, Abdullah. Well, that's the much we have on the English segments of the news. Up next is the translation. Good evening.
Ma gwaje shaje wo wona ya bi ya dada ba ku shagbe dai iwa na ba shi ba dai wo mu president ayuba wolu ago na ba ye gaye sala gabe nje juma yu asala shin ba su fa gun awo nke sin na ustaz garba yahya aliyolawi wala asala shin yi mbaje kala ge ba ku shin ba fi nje sala ba gbatu ba tu na ba mana mu in shokwa yi no muhammad aputa we baden ba shin nje sala shin wa shin wo fi nje shokwa yi wo shekwa na wo hwi wo sala ba batu kwani ba ma yishin batu ko no sala ga be he bai da sanu wo bai juma yi sala busi nsafa kwani wa godo ba ku shekwa yi giwe wa ma yishin yiki ya kwani abanu ko wa shi ba shi be anabaja jesi dai nke abusu bi da tutu majinje nasara yi civil defense dai baku aza a banu kwai jinje a kujen da bado na afiwi bado na za azawa zawayi akuba wa akuba hwawo abaji aruba pepe ntuna banu kwai magi ba shi je serafina okono me kwai wada nke abenwa nke kujen dai no wedna nya ku ya asasin ba na ga ju a jewa bai ebi kwai tatu chepa na je na bai go wa wuo wa toku asaba na bebe a machine abusi bi da yes with defense ba ki wa ya ala iga to bo ga te shi abia kwai na da abia kasa ba fi abanu ko shi aga agusel down ntege ba ku mo be fi ekisi na yi ala ampapai amaitamai dado na asokoro yi mbeje kala ige baku babu bashi pi ontu ekin shashan po nkobeji ko shashan na ife avuyan gomnati adage ko laputa la kwa pe anya ye nko shi ekin di ko shashan na shi iye ba yake zada jaramatu abdullahi wada ingaza na gban nge fema anya abdulrahman mohammed no be da de ko yi wa godu nge ekin atutun be peye yi baku lebe baika ba shi ba tutu baika obere nko mabo a be pya ba yin ba bwa inclusive na bai age nja ba ni a shi ko shigbe to ko shashan aglage ko safi tige banu koi be mabo nkwa kwa ilenu agbaje anabaji kuzo ibe ji adowo nko na shi kwa si ye page shi ko ni jinsu sai
Jama'a masu kallo da sauraron mu assalamu alaikum barkanmu da yammacin juma'a ta babbar rana a takaice ga fassarar wasu daga cikin labaran mu ne mai karantawa Yusuf Yakubu. A nasihar hudubar sallar juma'ar yau limamin masallacin juma'ar unguwar Eriyatan Ustaz Yahaya Garba Aliyodawi ya tunatar da al'ummar musulmi cewa su kasance masu la'akari da darajar da Allah ya yi musu sannan suke aikata alheri a kodayaushe domin kyautatuwar rayuwarsu. Wakiliyar Hauwa Gimba ta rawaito mana cewa bugu da ƙari limamin ya ja hankalin musulmi da su dage tukuru su zama masu gudanar da rayuwarsu akan tafarkin manzon tsira sallallahu alaihi wasallam inda ya ce ita ce kadai hanyar tsira gare su. A ci gaba da ƙoƙarin da take na tabbatar da tsaron rayuka da dukiyoyin al'ummar ƙasa kamar sauran takwarorinta. Wakilar Musarafina Okon Imekwe ta shaida mana cewa hukumar kare lafiyar fararen hula ta ƙasa wato civil defense ta gurfanar da wasu da ake zargi da aikata laifuka daban-daban da suka hada da wata mace da matsafa suke so su kashe ta a ɗakin otal, 'yan damfara da masu ɓata ababen more rayuwa na gwamnati da sauransu a hedikwatar ta da ke unguwar Zamfara a nan birnin tarayyar ƙasa Abuja, wanda daga bisani za su fuskanci kuliya manta sabo. An shawarci mazauna unguwoyin Fafe mai tama da Asokoro waɗanda suka yi ƙorafi a kan motsin ƙasa da suke samu cewa kada su tsorata a yayin da gwamnatin tarayya ta duƙufa wajen bincike da kuma magance matsalar gaba ɗaya. Wakilin Ramatu Abdullahi ta labarta mana cewa muƙaddashin shugaban hukumar kai agajin gaggawa ta ƙasa Federation babban birnin tarayyar ƙasa Abuja Abdullahi Muhammad ya yi ƙarin haske akan lamarin cewa ƙwararru sun ce motsin da ƙasar ke ba shi da hatsarin da suke fargaba. To abin da ya sauka kenan a labaranmu ne sai kuma ranar Litinin idan Allah ya kai mu na zama lafiya.
ìròyìn agogo méje láti olú iléeṣẹ́ amóhùnmáwòrán àgbà karùn-ún láti ìlú Àbújá ló dé sétí ìgbọ́yín. Olúwaṣèyí Abímbọ́lá Ọ̀yáwọlé ní oníròyìn ní àṣálẹ́ ẹ máa bá mi kálọ. Ìmáàmù mọ́ṣáláṣí àgbà kẹwàá láàrin Àbújá eléyìí tí à ń pè ní Area 10 Ustaz Garba Yahaya Ayolawi rọ gbogbo ẹlẹ́sìn ìsìláàmù nínú ìwàásù rẹ̀ lónìí lákòókò Jumat. Àmójúkọ ìròyìn wa Àwa Gimba jábọ̀ pé ìmáàmù náà tẹnumọ́ pé kí gbogbo ẹlẹ́sìn òdodo kó ronú jinlẹ̀ lórí ìwà àti ìṣe wọn gbogbo láyé. Ó gbà wọ́n níyànjú láti mú ìwà rere ọmọlúàbí tí wòlíì Muhammadu àlàáfíà kí ó wà fún lò bí ẹ̀ṣọ́ nítorí wípé ìwà rere báyìí ṣóun ni ẹ̀ṣọ́ ènìyàn gbogbo láyé. Àmójúkan ìròyìn wa Serafina Okon Umekwe jábọ̀ pé ọwọ́ ti tẹ àwọn agbanipa àti agbénipa. Àwọn afurasí yìí tí wọ́n jẹ́ apani, jẹgúdújẹrá, ajínigbé àti olè ní ọwọ́ ti tẹ̀ ní yàrá ilé ìtura kan. Wọ́n sì gba arábìnrin kan sílẹ̀ ní ọwọ́ wọn pẹ̀lú ẹni tí ó jẹ́ olùfarakáṣá ìjìyà lọ́wọ́ àwọn ọ̀daràn wọ̀nyí. Àwọn ẹgbẹ́ olùgbèjà àti aláàbò ìlú ẹni tí à ń pè ní Civil Defence ní èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì ṣe àfihàn àwọn ọ̀bàyéjẹ́ wọ̀nyí ní olú iléeṣẹ́ wọn ní agbègbè Zone 5 ní ìlú Àbújá. Ìjọba ti rọ àwọn olùgbé agbègbè Mape, Maitama àti Asokoro ti ìlú Àbújá pé kí wọ́n má ṣe fòyà, kí wọ́n fọkàn balẹ̀ nítorí ìjọba ti gbé ìgbésẹ̀ láti tọpinpin ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ìwárìrì eléyìí tí ó dojú kọ wọ́n ní agbègbè náà. Ramatu Abdullahi jábọ̀ pé adelé olùdarí àgbà ti àbẹ̀wẹ̀ ìṣàkóso pàjáwìrì ti FCT sọ àsọyé lórí àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ tí ìjọba ti gbé lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí. Ó sọ wípé àwọn amòye pẹ̀lú sì ti ṣàfihàn pé ìwárìrì yìí jẹ́ ohun tí kò yẹ kí a kọ́kàn sókè nítorí rẹ̀ rárá. Tó a ò ní rí jù báyìí lọ ní orí ìròyìn àṣálẹ́ yìí. Mo gbà á ládùúrà wípé ká jí láyọ̀ ní àṣẹ Èdùmàrè. Ó dàárọ̀.